Welcome back here to McCauley Stadium. We're going to try football again here. We've got the warm-ups done. I'm Rusty Lindsay alongside Doug Rothschild and Dan Studebaker with Nate Stein on the field, and that's where we're going to go first. Nate, obviously just torrential downpour there for well over an hour. What does the field look like after all that?
Well, Rusty, I know Doug talked about this above the broadcast, or before the broadcast, rather, how this is a pretty new turf field. It drains well. We did get a decent amount of standing water during that delay, but as you can see behind me now, for the most part, it has drained off. As far as the way the turf feels, it's still pretty wet. Your feet will stick into it a little bit, and it gives a little bit more when you plant. But other than that, it's almost normal. Yeah, it looks like from our vantage point, at least, the standing water, which was pretty much the whole field, has drained itself off. It looks like it's just turf again. Yeah, standing water is gone, which is good, and I gotta say, the energy down here, higher than it was before the original start of this game. All right, here we go. North Central takes over on the Wheaton 5-yard line, 2nd and goal.
This is their goal line running back they have in the game here.
No idea how to pronounce that, Rusty.
Mugallo is like we talked with Coach Swider at the top of the broadcast. Mugallo is their short yardage back, and they will give to Dominic on the run. He loses his footing, gets inside the 5, and it will be 3rd and goal from about the 2.
Yeah, coming out of a long break, it would be huge for Wheaton to be able to, with their backs to their own goal line, to get a stop here. I mean, this running back is a pretty special kid for North Central. Is a pretty good find in this recruiting class, and is going to be a good replace for Bruning when he feels like he finally leaves, because it feels like he's been at North Central for 7 or 8 years already.
Sophomore transfer from Upper Iowa. As they go big set on the line, twins left, split right. Mugallo again, right up the middle, and he's going to be stopped short. Second effort, not enough. He's back, stopped at the 1. I don't even know if they're going to give him the 1-yard line. And it'll be 4th and goal, and on comes the field goal unit for North Central.
And that is a huge stop for Wheaton to be able to bring the field goal unit onto the team, coming out of what was seemingly it was an hour or so break, but after North Central pretty easily just took its way down the field with the offense. So to be able to come out of a long delay like that and overcome adversity to force a stop and a field goal is huge. Now it's up to Wheaton's offense to respond.
High snap put down. Liam Crotty's field goal attempt. Basically just an extra point is good, and that's like you mentioned, Dan, that's big.
Huge.
North Central's offense had just moved itself quickly down the field on the opening drive of the game, and after the delay, the defense comes up big, and it's just 3-0 Cardinals.
I'm surprised actually at the play call. I know that Coach Thorne has a lot of confidence in his offensive line. He's got a veteran line. They've been very good run blockers, and they have a goal line back in Mugallo, and so I'm sure they had confidence in the play call, but they're going against a better defense than they've really faced all year up front, and they got single coverage out wide where they've got to feel like they have good matchups with at least 2 receivers that go 6'4" over bump and run corners. So I'm surprised they didn't give Brock Rudder at least 1 chance out of those 2 plays.
Rudder's also a guy with the athleticism to run the read option. When you've got that short yardage guy like Mugallo, he's going to naturally pull defenders to his side. That read option could have been open for Rudder for a walk-in touchdown.
It almost makes you wonder if coming out of the break like this, if Rudder's concerned about his ability to throw the ball, especially in short routes.
Carter Roberts on the kickoff return up the left hash, has a seam to the 30, across the 30 to the 35, and we saw it down in Decatur. Carter Roberts is a guy who has some ability to replace the explosive nature that Stone Watson had in the return game, and he gives Wheaton good field position to start what's going to be their first possession of the game.
Well, it's a nice return scheme that they have, where they have a little mini wedge right ahead of Carter, and those guys start up like they're going up the right hash, and then they all break left at the same time, and they have assigned guys that they're trying to double team and pin and try to create a lane. They've done a nice job executing on that return throughout the year.
This is a talented North Central defense who will take the field for the first time. 3 of their 4 starters on the defensive line, all conference a season ago. Snap on first down, give to Olateju, pulled out, and it's going to be a quick hitter to the left side to Lindquist, who bowls over 1 tackler, and he has a first down across the 45 to the 49-yard line.
Yeah, and that's actually, they were in a double tight set there, which is what you really like to see there, but that was actually pace on the reception. It's really difficult to call those guys out from this distance, because you've got one at 88 and one at 89.
And those are both some skinny numbers, too.
Yeah. I mean, they're basically the exact same player, but great call by Coach Scott to come out of the gate and appear to run, but then kick it out to the flat to the big man.
First and 10, this will be Olateju, and that's going to be Josh Leonard on the spot. And Olateju with nowhere to go on his first carry.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really exceptionally athletic and quick defensive line, and Leonard just did a great job coming underneath the block of Drew Smith and then getting upfield, and Drew was stepping out to like to reach block him, and he just undercut him and then got vertical up the field, and they're just too athletic to run parallel or run wide against this front.
2nd and 15, Olateju in jet motion. Flag comes up, free play for the Thunder. McWilliams going to go deep down the left sideline. He's got a man with a step, but just too far for Trey Hanley down the left sideline, but it's going to be an offsides penalty against North Central. And there you see the arm strength of McWilliams on the Realty Executive replay, is that's a heavy ball, and he threw that one a solid 40 yards downfield.
Well, I would have liked to see him put it right on the guy. But you do have to take that shot. He's a heady player. He's done a nice job a couple times this season doing that. We just, the receivers have got to see that too and make sure they're running flat out so the timing is right. But nice job there. Take advantage of the free play.
Great job by Wheaton's offensive line to hold their water there with two guys jumping off sides and into the neutral zone.
So they get the 5 yards back that they lost on the Olateju carry. Back to pass, 2nd and 10. It's completed across midfield. That is Lindquist. That'll be a gain of 4, and it'll be 3rd and 6 for the Thunder offense.
And they had Workenthine working against Lindquist there. I wouldn't be surprised when they get into man coverage for them to see Tyler Oakley cover Lindquist. That's something we saw quite a bit last year. Tyler Oakley did a good job against Lindquist in both games. And that's a matchup that North Central has liked in the past.
So 3rd and 6 here for the Thunder with a bunch set to the right side of the line. Carter Roberts up top. Actually, I believe that's Chase White who is up top. White making his return. North Central showing single high safety here. They drop into cover 3. McWilliams has time, and that ball is drilled in and is picked off by North Central. He was looking to get it to Hanley, and that's Workenthine who picks it off at the 42-yard line.
Yeah, and that was one of those that we've been talking about in the first 4 or 5 games here, is where McWilliams had his guy from the beginning and was throwing that ball no matter what, and that was thrown into tight coverage. And I mean, it was a bullet, but I mean, he just threw that into a well-covered guy, and he made.
Well, he threw it to the wrong shoulder. He threw it to his inside shoulder where the defender was. If he throws it to the outside shoulder, it's actually a completion, and he's trying to look the safety off, but it's not the safety that was the issue. The linebacker is pressing that route. It's just an outcut by the tight end, and the linebacker's job is to press that thing and stay as tight to that tight end as possible, and if he throws that on the other shoulder, it's a completion. It's just an inaccurate pass.
Pressure coming in his face from Matt Taylor, which caused him to get rid of that, coming right up the middle of the line. So 1st and 10 from their own 44. This is Brunig up the gut, slides through across midfield, and he's going to be cut down by Luke Smith at the 42-yard line. Big run there by Austin Brunig. And this is where you see this North Central offense at its best, is when it puts the gas pedal on the floor, and they will go very high tempo. Brunig again up the middle, bouncing to the near side, inside the 40, lowers his shoulder to the 36-yard line.
Yeah, this North Central offensive line and this whole scheme, you could see Coach Thorne is on a mission. He wants to be physical and fast and get Austin Brunig going. And they're doing a nice job with tempo here, and it's been catching Wheaton off guard.
See them exchange the tight ends. You'll see a lot of Tyler Egan as well as Alex Rose. Essentially the same skill sets, both of them 6'3", 220 in the neighborhood of. 2nd and 5 from the Wheaton 36. That's Egan moving to the right side. Brunig again, running to the right, has a first down. Flag comes down, and this is going to be a holding penalty against Dalton Ness, which will bring this play back.
Yeah, and Stevenson got up immediately feeling like he may have gotten tackled on the play.
Oh, he definitely did. You see 69 right at the point of attack there. Roped him and lassoed him to the ground. And now that'll put North Central behind the chains.
Really for the first time, and so this is sort of an untimed or uncalled break for Wheaton here to be able to get their personnel right and to be able to figure out what formation that North Central's in here. Because, as Doug mentioned, it's North Central wants to get on tempo, and if they get their tempo going, you can be in a lot of trouble pretty quickly.
Trips right, Ruiz the lone one to the left. Thrown into the flat, and it's broken up. Looked like Greenlee got a hand to it, trying to set up the bubble screen from the outside in.
They had that play drawn up very well. Wheaton's defense had that play read very well, and we were talking about it during the long rain delay. Rudder's not the type of guy that you want to be bringing a lot of pressure on, because in man coverage he'll pick you apart pretty easily. Now it may play into Wheaton's strength here because it's a little more difficult to throw a wet ball, but I mean, this is a good player who throws surgical strikes, and the rain's not going to affect him too terribly much.
I expect him to play zone here on third down.
Trips right, Ruiz, the lone guy to the left, 3 down linemen, and they will just rush the 3. Climbing the pocket, drilled over the middle. It's complete to Kaminsky, who rolls through a double-team tackle and has a first down to the 26-yard line. That is a bullet from Brock Rudder.
Boy, you can see why Kaminsky's been their leading receiver. He knows how to get open. You can see he did it against the blitz on the first series, running the under route, and there against the zone he found the window, and Rudder threw a great ball.
Over 400, right at 400 yards receiving. Prospect from South Elgin High School, the freshman, Andrew Kaminsky. Here's Rudder on first down. Looking left, the single coverage against Ruiz, and that ball is incomplete, but it's a flag.
Oh, man.
They're going to get pass interference on Marcus Smith.
Well, Marcus has got to turn the same way he turns and look for the ball. He never did, and you're going to get the flag when you're facing the receiver and you got your hands on him with the ball in the air as he's trying to get to the back shoulder. That's going to be a flag.
Yeah, it was good coverage, and I think it was an attempted back shoulder throw, but with the wet ball, it just didn't quite have the distance. Well behind Ruiz. So an automatic first down for the Cardinals at the Thunder 12-yard line.
And these man matchups on the outside are not great matchups for the Thunder. They're usually much better when they're playing a zone. But, you know, right now they've been part of what they have to do is play man with who they got out there.
Wheaton scrambling to get set up defensively. They finally do, with Smith and Luke and Marcus Smith switching places. Play clock's at 10 as Rudder looks like he's audibling his offense. 1st and 10 from the Thunder 12. Snap back on 4 on the play clock. Looking to the right, has a stop route. It's completed to Kaminsky again, and he's going to be brought down at the 5-yard line. We'll leave about 3 yards for a first down.
Yeah, their lineup, trying to get lined up there, which they had struggled doing. Rudder saw he had man coverage. He checked to the man route here, and he knew that he had a little curl route outside to his wide receiver. Well executed.
Rudder looks like he is only interested in number 11 on this drive, Kaminsky. And when you look at the catch totals, it's really been him and Bruning that have dominated the touches on the receiving end for the Cardinals. 2nd and 3. Give is to Magalo, and he is up the middle, dancing and weaving, and he has the North Central touchdown with 3:41 left here in the first quarter.
Nice job by North Central converting on the interception. Wheaton pressing a little bit, and you know, this defense needs to just settle in and just start playing football. Great job by the North Central offense to execute. Their offensive line right now has been handling the line of scrimmage. They've been able to run the ball pretty much when they want to, other than that first drive that should result in a field goal.
Crotty has missed 4 extra points this season. He does not miss that one. 10-0 our score here late in the first quarter. North Central with the field goal right out of the lightning delay, and then Mugalo here, the 5-yard touchdown scamper. That is his 10th touchdown of the season. And North Central now with a quick 2-score lead.
Yeah, it's up to Wheaton now to respond on their second drive of the game. You just have to. I mean, the feeling is you just have to put the ball on the ground here and just run it right at North Central's defense. They on that last play, unfortunately, you know, the defense forces a field goal, gets you off the field at 3, and then you get down the field, you know, pretty quickly, and then throw just not a great ball into the coverage. And here you are now down 10-0, so you have to respond now because North Central is the type of team that you get down on them, they'll find quick ways to score and run it up.
Well, again, this game is going to be won and lost up front. Right now, North Central winning that battle up front. Their offensive line has kept Brock Rudder clean, and they've created holes in the running game. They've been able to run the ball and throw it in their first 2 drives without much of a problem.
Yeah, Rudder hasn't been touched one time this game so far.
Squib kick right up the middle, and that's Noah Frazier is just going to fall on the football at the 28-yard line. And it looks like North Central's not interested in giving the return guys for Wheaton any chance. Phil Nichols had an exceptional game in the return category last week in Decatur, and they kicked away from him the first time, and Carter Roberts had a nice return, so this time they're just going to keep the ball on the ground. And with a wet track, you just never know. But Frazier did the right thing, falls on it, and Wheaton will take over for their second possession of the game from their own 28-yard line.
Well, I mean, and North Central there to have Wheaton starting on their own 27-yard line, I mean, that's a pretty good field position if you're North Central. You're giving that up and taking that all day.
Nichols motioning to the right, Twins still to the left. Here's Olateju on the counter. Nope, McWilliams on a play action. He's going deep. Nichols has a step, and he overthrew him at the 40-yard line. So Jesse Scott playing aggressive on first down here the first couple possessions.
He had him there. That's usually a ball that McWilliams has thrown well, and he just over his outstretched arms.
So that'll be 2nd and 10 from the 28-yard line. Nichols had 90 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns last week. Couldn't quite connect there on the big play. Quick hitter to the outside. Gets it complete to Nichols. Breaks out of 1 tackle, and he will be up the sideline for a first down all the way to the 40-yard line. Great effort by Philip Nichols to fight his way across the chains.
A nice job by Trey Hanley out there blocking for him. Got just enough of the defensive back to free him. You could see him working there on the corner Z-bold. He got just enough of him to free McNichols.
Well, Schweider talked about it in the Insider. I mean, he's the type of guy, when he gets the ball in his hands, he always finds a way to get extra yardage. And it's one of those things, he catches the ball, and those after the catch yardage that he gains are just so important for an offense to keep the ball rolling.
That hit from Cravens looked like he expected him to give up a little easier than he did there. That's incomplete. Another quick hitter to the left side for Nichols.
The linemen on the wide side here of these corners, they're playing so far inside leverage that you ought to just be able to run a quick out cut all day long and complete it as often as you want. If you notice out here, I think this is Hanley out wide, and he's right on the hash mark, and number 17 is standing just inside the hash.
2nd and 10 here from their own 40. McWilliams, quick set. That ball swatted down by Dowds. Really no doubt where that ball was going. McWilliams tipped his hand on the drop back, and Dowds was right there to swallow it up.
Yeah, I mean, I think to Doug's point, North Central's onto something here. When they have, and Dowds proved it right there with getting his hands up there and getting in that lane so quickly. To the field side, number 17, the corner out here is so far inside. There's just so much field to work with, but apparently North Central's onto something at Wheaton, that Wheaton just wants the short side of the field.
3rd and 10 now from their own 40. The Thunder needing to steal some momentum back. 4-man rush for the Cardinals. McWilliams hit around his feet, and it sails over the top of Olateju. McWilliams got hit as he was releasing by Dowds, who beat Andrew Jones, and on comes Zach Fedler in the punt team.
And Andrew is actually an excellent pass blocker, and that matchup, I know Jesse Scott likes that against Billy Dowds, but he's just got to be patient with his footwork and just keep working his feet. Billy Dowds had a nice get off and got his shoulder dipped around that corner, which made it a lot tougher, but you got to give McWilliams time to throw that ball on 3rd down.
Pat Cravens, the dangerous return man for the Cardinals. Good snap by Vargas. That's important with the wet football. And Fedler with a high spiraling punt. And Cravens with a flag comes down from the near side. Cravens across the 30 on the return. And that's all he will get. But it looks like North Central will be backing themselves up. This will be holding on the return.
That's their classic return. North Central runs a hold-up return, which basically means everybody has a guy assigned on the kicking team. They come across as if they're rushing aggressively because they want them to engage. Once they engage, they try to stay inside, much like an offensive lineman would, hold them from getting a release. And then on the bullets, they're really trying to play them like bump and run man coverage and keep them outside to create running lanes. But when you're playing that close and that physical, that's the type of call you can get. You can get blocks in the back, but you can also get these holding calls on that kind of return.
Yeah, it becomes really difficult if the bullet on the punt team gets even one step of extra of leverage on you. You have to get your hands off him almost immediately, or else you get tied up and you get that call almost every time.
So 1st and 10 from their own 11 for the Cardinals. They have scored both times they've had the ball here tonight.
Robbie Schwartz in at corner, puts Kyle Fox and Blazek back at their natural positions at safety right now.
Thing to watch, Schwartz listed at 5'6". He's picking up Corey Hartema, who's 6'1". So the Cardinals will have a height advantage with that matchup. Bernig moves right side of Rudder. shouting out instructions to his offensive lineman, and now Brunig back on the left hip, and Alex Rose goes in motion left to right, puts his hand in the turf. 3 on the play clock, snap is back. Here's Brunig running up the middle across the 10 to the 14-yard line. It's a 3-yard gain here on first down.
And again, when you can get 3 or 4 yards on a running play on first down, you'll take that all day, and that's a sign that the offensive line for North Central is doing a good job getting up to the next level.
Greenlee, the defensive end, comes down the line to make the tackle. 2nd and 7 from the 14. Schwartz again against Hardeman to the near side, and now they will send Kaminsky out to the slot left. Single man is Ruiz to the right side, 2nd and 7. Rudder will hand off to Brunig, and it's blown up in the backfield by Dallas McCray. Grabbed the ankle of the running back and would not let go.
Yeah, and you knew coming into this week if Dallas McCray was able to make the start, you know, talking about the unfortunate injury that he had a few weeks ago, that was just one of those scary things. But he's such a disruptive guy that he can make so many plays in the backfield, and he requires North Central just be on their heels and rethink their play calling, because if you try to do that you know, in the backfield movement and that trickery in the backfield, he's going to get there and he's going to get in the way.
4 wide receivers here for the Cardinals on 3rd and 11. Stacked left and right. 3-man rush. Rudder's going up the rail, and it's picked off by the Thunder. The wide receiver never turned his head, and it's intercepted at the North Central 38-yard line.
O'Connell and Hoover got home to Rudder, made him throw it off his back foot, so I don't think he got quite as much on it as he hoped to.
That's Nick Blazik with the interception. Just the 3rd of the year and the 6th of his Cardinal career for Brock Rudder.
And something to note there, it's really good to be able to call his name out here in the first half of this game, because coming into the game, or coming in following Milliken, we thought that he may be sitting out the first half of this game with a targeting ejection that was then overturned.
So Wheaton takes over on the North Central 38-yard line. Through the storm that we had, it got very windy into the face of the Thunder, but that wind has died down. No wind to speak of as we play. 1st and 10 from the 38. This is Olateju into the line. Nope, another play fake, and that ball is incomplete. Looking for Tyler Pace. McWilliams doing a great job selling these fakes.
Justin Sturzma is the safety. He's a convert. He played safety 2 years ago. Last year he played linebacker, was all conference both times. Now he's back at his position at safety, but he's really a linebacker like safety. He was sitting on that tight end route in great position, and that ball, you got to run right at him and across his face. The tight end's job is to get across the face, and you got to put the ball right on his numbers.
And again, staring down his man the whole time. Free play again for the Thunder. McWilliams rolling to the near side. Pressure from behind. Gets the ball away, and it is incomplete, off the hands. And Wheaton's
very close.
Wheaton's doing it's a schematic forcing this offsides, because with the jet motion, Olateju has crossed the face of the quarterback, expecting the handoff twice now, and North Central is jumping at that every time. And so I don't know if that's something that Wheaton saw on tape or it's just a new wrinkle from Jesse, but it's worked twice now.
Yeah, they're trying to take advantage of the aggressiveness of this defensive front. These guys just are really good at getting off on the football. That's why they spend a lot of time in the other team's backfield generally. And when that happens, you can get them to jump sometimes.
Well, and Shola's doing a great job of selling it when he crosses the quarterback's face. I mean, he's overdoing the hand motion to take the ball, and I think the defensive line is watching it. 2nd
and 5, McWilliams will drop it off to Olateju to the near side. Has the first down and more, hurdling, and he's brought down at the 21-yard line. Great block on the near side by Nichols, and a nice play by Mike Zebold to get just enough of Olateju to shut down what could have been a big play.
Nice job by the Thunder to convert there and get the first down, knocking on the door of the red zone after the Rudder interception. Chance to answer here, 59 seconds to go in the half. In the quarter. 10-0 North Central lead.
Clock running here. 1st and 10 down to the North Central 22 following the Nick Blazik interception. TJ Williams is in the slot right for the Thunder inside of Carter Roberts. Twins stacked to the left here as motion comes and shuts down for Hanley. This is Olateju into the line, breaks through, and he's inside the 15 and rumbling for a big gain. And I guess that play fake, you do it enough times, and all of a sudden you actually hand it off, and it's a lot of room there for Shola Olateju.
Really a great job by the center, Jake Hibben there. He gave a nice block against the defensive tackle, Lamonte Logan, and got right up to the linebacker. He chipped the defensive tackle onto his guard, Parker, and then he got up to the linebacker, providing 2 blocks, which is really what sprung Shola on that play.
Motion from Lindquist, last play of the first quarter. Olateju again, has room to the edge. 10, 5, rolls through 1, and he stays on his feet and ushered out of bounds. Zach Greenberg tried to just wrap up the legs and got sent to the ground, and Wheaton will have first and goal as we start, or when we head to the second quarter.
Really a nice block by Lindquist, cracking down on the linebacker, which freed him around the end. He did a great job on Workenthien to pin him, which got Shola out onto the defensive back, and he does a nice job making a physical run on the perimeter.
As you'll see it one more time, and Callaway got just enough of the backfield penetration, and Greenberg's going to have to get more of Olateju if he wants to bring the big fella down.
And that's the crazy thing about the running style of Shola Olateju. He runs so low and keeps his feet running so hard, and to your point, Greenberg goes after the only thing that you have to take out in a running back, and it's his legs. He dives at his legs and puts a decent hit on him, and Shola's just like, nope, and moves on and just kind of ushers him out of bounds. But that's the power running game that Shola gives you. If he's a one cut back, and he's shifty, when he makes those moves, but then all of a sudden he turns it on. He can
his
run
legs
over.
are so big and powerful. That's really where he generates his speed and his force from to run through tacklers. Sometimes he gets his shoulder pad level up too high, but when you try to tackle him around the thighs, he's like, remember Herschel Walker or Earl Campbell in the old days. Of course, I'm an old guy, so those probably don't mean anything to you guys.
Yeah, and he can ask Pat Cravens when the support group is for trying to tackle Shola.
Emmett Smith is a similar runner. He had really strong legs, I think, for the Cowboys.
First and goal from the 3 here as we get set to start the second quarter. I'm Rusty Lindsay alongside Doug Rothschild and Dan Studebaker. Nate Stein roaming the sidelines. Thanks for tuning in here on WTSN. Spencer Peterson and the Wildcat package into the game. Peterson will hand off to Olateju. He's into the end zone. Touchdown,
Flag.
Thunder.
Flag coming from the ref. Late in the play, though. He threw the flag quite late.
So we will wait and sort it out.
Personal foul. Hands to the face, it looks like, is what they're going to call.
Wow, and that's a huge call. I mean, that's first and goal from the 3 turns into first and goal now from the 18.
Ball will be repositioned out of the 18. Peterson, we've been calling for it for a few weeks. That defenses are keying on Peterson because he doesn't hand the ball off very often on that time. That time he does hand it off, and you could tell the defense followed Spencer Peterson.
I don't know who they called the penalty on there.
Yeah, I didn't catch that either. See if we can.
I'm not able to see it there on the replay. So it'll be first and goal back at the 18. Trips right, split left is Carter Roberts as Olateju motions out to the backfield. He will set up outside of Roberts. McWilliams, the lone guy, faces a 4-man rush. Steps up in the pocket, has Lindquist. Lindquist down to the 10, still going. And the ball came out late.
That's a fumble.
That's North Central football. Lindquist got spun around late. The ball came out. And North Central has the football. So the penalty erases points and will lead to a turnover. As here you'll see it on the Realty Executives replay.
Great play scheme there. He just ran a little pivot route on the linebacker Sora, broke that tackle. He's trying to fight for extra yards, and he takes a hit from Tyler Oakley with his shoulder pads exposed, and Oakley hits him on the ball, and the ball pops out.
Oakley did a smart thing there. He waited till he got off his knees to pick the ball up so that he was able to run. So it's a good thing Lindquist was able to grab his ankles running away. So first and 10 for the Cardinals from their own 12 following Wheaton's second turnover of the game. And again, it's red zone turnover.
It just continues to happen in the red zone when you're going down and have the opportunity to score and make this a 3-point game. You put the ball on the turf. It's just huge momentum shift back into North Central's favor after moving the ball down the field so well.
Hand off to Brunig on first down. He breaks the line of scrimmage. Not much more. Looks like they'll give him a yard on the play. 2nd and 9 coming up for the Cardinals. And again, it's Dallas McCray who was behind him, and then Stevenson drove him back. Great to see running onto the field right now, number 98, Whit Wiggins. He was injured in the Elmhurst game. Cleared again for this week. Gives you some depth on that defensive line. That's big because Wheaton, that's just been a decimated unit on the defensive line. Here's motion to the near side as Rudder going up the rail looking for Svikis, and it is completed at the 38-yard line. That's Michael Svikis. And North Central can now get out of the shadow of their own end zone.
Yeah, just taking advantage of the matchups that they have, and they have good matchups with these receivers against the Wheaton corners. And again, they win another battle with the ball, a well-thrown ball by Brock Rudder.
Perfect back shoulder throw, and Kyle Fox couldn't get himself stopped and turned around. So out to the Wheaton 39-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Cardinals. Just when Wheaton looked like they had stalled the momentum, the penalty and the turnover, and now the Cardinals are in motion again. Brunig running to the right side, has the line of scrimmage, and then Fox cuts him down on the near side. Help from the inside from Blazik. That'll be a gain of 3, and we'll bring up 2nd and 7. It's a very patient run by Brunig there.
So far, North Central's played a very clean game with the exception of the interception by Rudder that they actually got the stop themselves. They've just played a cleaner game than the Thunder so far, up 10-0.
2nd and 7 from the 42. 6-man front here for the Cardinals. Tight end goes out. Rudder pressure coming, and he throws it short of the running back, Brunig. Pressure from Corey Kennedy, and that'll bring up 3rd and 7.
Yeah, they just blitzed him from his outside spot from off the slot, and they didn't have him picked up in the protection, which usually there's one person that's not picked up in the protection. It's the quarterback's responsibility to get the ball out. There's often a sight adjust by the receiver who's lined up over that blitzer, but this time they were trying to set something up to the near side, so Rudder just had to backpedal and throw the ball as earlier than he wished that he wanted to.
Yeah, and that was just a get-rid-of-it throw, too. He had no intention of trying to complete that ball. It was just throw it at the feet of Brunig.
Big
take your medicine and on to the next play.
Wheaton brings pressure. They're going up the rail again, and it is incomplete, and a flag comes down. Fox had perfect coverage, and it's pass interference.
That's a terrible call.
That's a bad call. I mean, it's just like he had great leverage on it, turned around, got his hand on the ball.
We see it again on the Real D Executives replay. He has inside leverage.
Bad.
That's offensive pass interference.
So bad.
It's just a bad call. So, and you're going to get that at this level. You're going to get officials that.
And for better or worse, it's a rash in the college game that cornerbacks are being punished for underthrown footballs.
And there were actually 2 penalties on that play. One was a personal foul, late hit, and then the second one was the defensive pass interference, which is the one that they're now appearing to be accepting.
Well, either way, the late hit is just something that the Thunder have been plagued by penalties. Last week, obviously it was well documented. They had 15 penalties for over 150 yards, and that's been their Achilles heel this season is penalties, and tonight hasn't been any exception. They had 4 in the first quarter. They've already had, I think, 3 here.
Here's Brunig on 1st down, head of steam. Will carry a tackler down to the 40-yard line for a 3-yard first down run. And North Central going to the run in the early downs with a lot of success. And it's been an area where Wheaton's run defense was so stout through the first 4 weeks of the season, but the last 3 games, Wheaton has been gashed with some running totals. 2nd and 7 now from the 40. This will be Brunig again up the middle. Bouncing to the outside. Brunig breaks out of an arm tackle, and Brunig's off to the races down the sideline inside the 25 and down to the 22-yard line.
Again, the battle up front, and then the physical running. Austin Brunig is not a big guy, but he's doing a good job making physical runs. He's 5'10", 182 pounds. He has tremendous speed. If you get behind him, you're not going to catch him generally. But he's become much more of a physical runner, and there he did a nice job of keeping his feet moving through contact and breaking those tackles.
A rare missed tackle by Corey Kennedy, which allowed him to bounce that ball. 1st and 10 from the Thunder 23-yard line. North Central on the long drive here following the fumble in the red zone by Zach Lindquist. Mugalo, the lone back, he takes the carry up the middle, has a step and explodes inside the 50. Ball's out! Wheaton has the football. The ball came out late.
Sure did.
And Wheaton has it.
Wow, yeah.
It was Corey Kennedy, I believe, that corralled him and then had his hand on the ball and pulled it out. You'll see on the replay, whoever the tackler was, I think it was Corey Kennedy that grabbed him. and pulled it out. You can see him. He gets up through the line there, and here comes Kennedy over the top, grabs him there, and Rich, watch with the right arm. He just strips the ball out. Great job there getting the ball on the ground. And that's what they need to do is they have to have people make plays to get them off the field in these situations, and they did a nice job. Now the offense has got to make something happen here.
That was an absolutely huge play. I mean, you're talking about 10-0 with the opportunity for North Central to really make a statement and go up 17-0 and really pretty easily moving the ball down on a vaunted defense, and to come up with a penalty there to give your offense the opportunity to score is huge.
First down handoff, Olateju breaks through the 15-yard line and spinning to the 17-yard line. We saw it in that late drive by the Thunder in Decatur where they took the lead with about minute 58 left. Shola Olateju was really demanding the ball and just running with as much intensity as we've seen in his 4-year career. And it looks like he has carried that over into tonight. 2nd and 6 after the 4-yard run.
Yeah, he's more of the quiet strength type of running back, but I mean, he's become a spirited back here recently with his vocal behavior on the sideline. It's just great, and the players love it.
2nd and 6 from the 17 as McWilliams sits back on play action. McWilliams going to Roberts. He's got a step and makes the catch at midfield, and he's going to be thrown down at the 45-yard line. Huge play for this Thunder offense.
Knight, exactly what they needed. Again, flipping field position, grabbing the momentum back. And now they got to try to finish this drive. Great job by Roberts to get over the top of Zebold, and the safety just doesn't get there in time. This time, McWilliams does a good job putting it on him. Actually underthrew that one a little bit as opposed to a couple of those balls he overthrew.
1st and 10 to the North Central 45 as Carter Roberts continues his emergence as one of Wheaton's best wide receivers this year. 1st and 10. High snap. Given to Olateju, has a seam, and he bowls through a tackler. That's Warkenthien, and gets down to the 41. They will actually put his knee down at the 42-yard line.
Again, you'll take it in the first half. You'll take 3 yards on a running play on first down. Those 3-yard runs tend to be 4, 5, and 6-yard runs as the game wears on. That's the kind of thing you have to be able to do. And both teams trying to exert their will on the other defense. These are both very talented defensive fronts. Both offensive lines doing a good job against the opposing defensive front so far. 2nd
and 7 as we go to 10 minutes left here in the first half. North Central leading 10-0. 4-3 basic shell defense look from North Central. Olateju again. Nope, play action. McWilliams going to the near sideline, and he overthrew Philip Nichols.
Wow, he did. He faked out everybody there.
Yeah, McWilliams has been exceptional with the handoff fakes. That time it's a little dangerous. He turned his back on the line of scrimmage to sell the handoff.
And again, they've got to see in that 2 tight end set with the single receiver out wide up top, lined up on the hash. They're single covering him with the entire field out there. You can just run a simple out cut and throw the ball. It's a throw that he can make very easily. You can put Nichols or Chase White or Trey Hamlin, any of those guys up there.
Chase White's had a couple of opportunities already today in that set, and McWilliams hasn't looked at him once.
3rd and 7 from the 42. 4-man rush. McWilliams flushed out to the right side. Has time. Delivering up the sideline. Completed. That's Hanley. And Hanley fighting for extra yards. Almost broke free. Still fighting inside the 20-yard line.
Yeah, just hold on to it. The ball did come out at the end.
Hanley's a guy who really announced his presence in that 17-9 win at North Central when he broke onto the scene, and he has been a guy who has really been the heart and soul of an offense ever since.
And here's where the reason you got that chance is you got the freshman defensive end who had 3 sacks last week. Tala Ahan came inside of Drew Smith, which allowed McWilliams to break coverage and allowed them the extra time to be able to get that play. So if you're North Central's defense, the whole key that you don't want to extend plays. You want to keep the quarterbacks in the pocket. Getting him outside allowed him to give him the time to make that throw and make that play.
I'm not sure what's going on the field right now.
There's a dog out on the field.
Well, there's a woman who has just wandered onto the field. The dog's with the lady who's standing here right as you see it at the 20-yard line.
They're calling the Wheaton police there. It would appear that she's got something to say.
First it was the training staff out there, and then Bob Norris.
This is something I haven't seen before.
The woman's on crutches.
The woman's on crutches with a dog on a leash, and now the Wheaton Police Department, after talking with Bob Norris, the head of campus security, This is very strange.
I think maybe she's a Shola Olateju fan.
Your guess, that's as good a guess as any,
She's
think.
clearly demanding that Shola get more touches. As the police leading her off the field now. Well, that is a new one.
It's probably some sort of demonstration of some kind. She's clearly trying to make a point. She's not very happy with the officers, but nevertheless, we're cleared to play and get back to football.
1st and 10 from the North Central 20 for the Thunder with 9:23 left.
The Thunder have to be efficient here. They've struggled this year. They've had good play called, but the execution in the red zone they've struggled with.
McWilliams will go under center with just 2 wideouts. Double tight end look here for the Thunder. North Central brings the linebackers down on the outside. Play fake for McWilliams, and he's going to be sacked back at the 35-yard line. Big loss on that one. That's a loss of 15 for the Thunder.
And that's one you could see before the snap. The linebacker came from his inside spot and lined up on the outside end of the line of scrimmage. You could see him lined up there. The quarterback's job on a bootleg, when he knows he's going to play fake and bootleg, his job is to, right before the ball is snapped, most coaches will coach him to look at the end of the line of scrimmage when I know I'm turning back that way. And if I have a blitzer, I can't go through the play fake. I got to get my head around a lot faster because I know that guy's coming. And if you don't do that, that's the type of play that's going to end up happening. Again, big mistake in the red zone, and that's been killing the Thunder tonight.
It's just a complete change in philosophy once you get down closer to the 20-yard line. Everything changes about the offense, and it's just
Olateju on a misdirection, and he has nowhere to go. Backed up another 2 yards.
You're having no trouble moving the ball down the field, but once you get to the 20-yard line, everything changes, and it's just like, I mean, the entire box was stacked on that play there with McWilliams under center. And it wasn't a secret that was play action, and they were right after him before he could get the ball off.
Shola was coming off the field. Now he goes down on about the 40-yard line, and the trainers are out watching him.
So with this break in the action, Nate Stein's on the sideline. Nate, can you give us an update of what the break in play was about there prior to first down?
So my understanding of it was that was a local resident that lives here in Wheaton, pretty close to the field, and due to the delay with the lightning, it apparently caused her some inconvenience, and she wanted the game to stop because of the noise.
Mission accomplished. Thank you, Nate.
That's good reporting, Nate. Thanks for that word.
So Olateju being led to the training table here after that play. He is walking on his own power. Now, he did kind of twist himself around trying to break out of that tackle. So with Stone Watson out for the year with the torn ACL, this is going to be the TJ Williams show here. 3rd and 27 from the 37. McWilliams faces 3, trying to throw it into the flat to McWilliams, and Leonard just swats it to the turf.
It's the third batted pass we've had in this game. North Central really just having their way with the Thunder right now, and the Thunder can't get out of their own way, and that's not. They're not even in a position to kick the field goal at this point.
It would be an attempt of 52 yards. Instead, it'll be Fedler in the punt unit.
Which is the right call. You want to play field position here, and Fedler is very good at this punt. Try to pin him inside the 10, inside the 5, and hope your defense can get off the field.
North Central looks like they're going to bring pressure. And Fedler drops this ball, and it will land at the 3 and head into the end zone.
Man, and just so disappointing again, once again, to be moving the football so well down the field, get into the red zone and not be able to make anything of it, and now end up on the 20-yard line after. I mean, it's just, you have to begin scoring the football. I mean, that's just been the difficulty of this team in recent weeks. It's just when you get to the red zone, there's just so much trouble.
Well, but as poorly as you've played, you're still in the game. Yeah. 7:30 to go in the first half. It's a 2-score game. It's 10-0. You are moving the football. The key is, though, if you keep giving Brock Rutter chances, he's going to continue to hurt you.
No doubt about it.
The defense has not, they've been playing bend and not break, and they just need to be a little more stout, particularly against the run here.
So motion comes across with the tight end here for the Cardinals. 3 wide receiver look, hand off to Brunig. Brunig looking for room to run, and he gets none of it. Still fighting actually. The whistle, long whistles.
And they're
here.
letting him play. They're letting him play through it.
Yeah, you got to be careful because he's going to churn behind there, and he's got the speed that if the perimeter guy's let up and he bounces out, he can beat you to the corner and hurt you very badly. He's an excellent running back, so you got to gang tackle. You can't give up until you hear the whistle.
That's the second time tonight that we have seen some long scrums and tackle attempts, and Brunig's able to fight his way for a yard where initially he didn't really have anything. 2nd and 9 from their own 21. Twins left, split right. They continue to keep the tight end tucked into the middle of the line. And that's done a nice job slowing down the pass rush up the middle for the Thunder. This is Tyler Egan now motioning left. And Brunig on the handoff trying to cut it back. Nowhere to go. The Thunder on top of that one. And it'll be a big 3rd down for the Thunder defense here. 3rd and 8. Actually, they're not even going to give him a yard a gain. So it'll be 3rd and 9. For the Cardinals.
The Thunder will go with their nickel package. Dallas McCray comes out. In comes the extra linebacker. It'll be a 3-man front against a spread set. 4 wide receivers with Brunig in the backfield.
Yeah, this
Big
is where Wheaton's defensive line needs to step up and take the task. Getting pressure on Brock Rudder and not letting him sit back there in the pocket and throw something deep.
2-by-2 wide receiver set. Wheaton with 3 linemen in the game.
Bringing pressure. 2
of them standing up. That's Herber, who looks like he's bringing pressure. And they do bring delayed blitz from the linebacker, looking to the near side, and it's complete to Svikas. And boy, if he stays on his feet, he's gone. But it's a 1st down out to the 45-yard line.
Man, you know, over the course of the season, very few teams have gotten a Rudder. He gets the ball out so quickly, and look at that throw. Under pressure, he knows he's going to get hit, and he just puts the ball on the money. That is a big-time throw right there. There's not many quarterbacks in D3, there might not be any, that can make that play.
Rudder's a guy who, after the early pressure in the playoff game, really looked like he had lost some of his timing. Wheaton just not quite able to get home here tonight. 1st and 10 from the 48, under 5.5 to play here in the first half. Play fake for Rudder, and it is completed after a bobble by Kaminsky. And now again, a long whistle.
Play to it.
A long whistle, and it'll end up being an 8-yard gain for Kaminsky after that ball got into his face mask before he was able to corral it.
Yeah, really the difference I'm seeing so far between this and the playoff game to end last season is their ability to run the ball with Brunig. I mean, they're a very physical team up front, and Wheaton just completely dominated the line of scrimmage in that game. And North Central's sort of having its way right now with Wheaton's offense and defensive line, and you're seeing it on the field right now as Wheaton's unable to get off.
Yeah. 2nd and 2 here for Rudder with trips to the right side. They're going to take a shot here. Looking up the rail to the left, and that ball is broken up by Marcus Smith. Looking for a flag since they've thrown it on every time they've tried that. Nothing to come. 3rd and 2 here, another big one.
It's interesting to see if they go with their short yardage running back here. They're not. They're going to keep Brunig in the game.
It makes you wonder if North Central is going to keep him off the field a bit because of the huge fumble that he had on the last drive to give Wheaton the ball back.
Trips right, split left here, 3rd and 2. Wheaton not showing pressure, and they don't bring any. Handoff to Brunig. He's got 1st down and more inside the 35, down to the 33. Easy gashing run for Austin Brunig.
Really nice job by the North Central left side of that offensive line. Joe Fairley, the senior, and the freshman. Sharmore Clark had a great block on Dallas McCray to push him down and create that block. Fairley did a good job of chipping off on Greenlee and getting up to the linebacker.
Brunig, again, this is Rudder on the keeper, turns it upfield, breaks out of 1, and slides down at the 25-yard line. Rudder does a nice job when he does run of protecting himself, doesn't take too many hits, and they're actually going to, because he slid, only give him the 26. So that's a gain of 7, but that play doesn't have to be a big one, just has to be enough to keep that defensive end honest on the handoffs.
Yeah, more importantly for North Central, it just keeps them on schedule. You know, they're 2nd and short now and have a wide variety of plays that they can run at 2nd and 4.
3.5 minutes left here before halftime. North Central with one timeout, Wheaton with all three. Brunig on the handoff, up the middle. Nope, this is Rudder again. Spins out of one tackle, tries to split a pair, and he does. And Greenlee finally tracks him down from the inside. 1st and goal from the 8-yard line, and a nice run by Brock Rudder.
Great job keeping it there, and again, they're having their way because they've had the effectiveness there. And a nice spin move. He was actually caught in the backfield, and he spins out of it to get a big gain. It should have been a loss of about 3.
Yeah, Brock Rudder is one of the best quarterbacks in America, and he's showing you why here. His decision making, his ability to get away from hits and deliver balls on time are just exceptional.
This is Brunig, a patient run. As he waited just for a little bit of room to open up, he ends up getting 3. 2nd and goal down to the 6. Luke Solly on the tackle for the Thunder as we roll down to 2:45 left here in the half. Dalton Ness doing a nice job there. Initially held off on his block and then was able to get free enough to open up what little room he could for Brunig. Trips left, split right is Ruiz. Thunder walk down the safety. Looking left is Rudder. Comes back across the middle. Incomplete. Eric Stevenson knew exactly where that ball was going, and it was too high for Kaminsky. 3rd and goal.
If you're a fan of trench play, you got to keep an eye on left guard freshman Sharmore Clark against Dallas McCray. These two guys are in a heavyweight slugfest on almost every play.
And they're going to see a lot of each other in the next couple of years here as well.
2 freshmen going at it. Big play here. 3rd and goal from the 6. 2:22 left in the half. North Central trying to make this a 3-score game with a touchdown. Kaminsky taking his time, going all the way out, split left. And they're going to call a timeout. Not sure why he felt the need to wait so long, but he did.
He just running the play clock all the way down. They realize they're getting close to half here, and if they score, they want to try to leave as little time as possible for the Thunder. So that's actually not a bad play here. That would be the last timeout, if you recall. Several hours ago, on the first drive, North Central burnt 2 of their timeouts, and there they just burned the 3rd and final one of the half.
So this will be a big one for both teams, really. Wheaton needing to hold North Central to a field goal attempt to try to keep this a 2-score game. For North Central, they've looked primarily to Kaminsky in the passing game, and you're right, Dan, we haven't seen Mugallo since the fumble. Dan, where do you go if you're North Central here on this play?
I mean, I think if it's me, I'm putting it in the hands of Brock Rudder and giving him some sort of run-pass option. I mean, he's the type of guy that has had plenty of time today, and when he has time, he delivers the ball where it needs to be, and that's into the hands of number 11, Kaminsky, a guy who he's liked ever since his top receiver went down earlier this season. So, I mean, I'm putting it in number 9's hand and letting him deliver a strike to someone in the end zone.
Yeah, they didn't last time they were on the goal line. Well, they did give it to the big guy, but the first time down there they ran 2 running plays, and they know they've been getting man coverage down on the goal line. It looks like Thunder are going to be in man coverage again, so I would be surprised if they didn't give Brock Rudder a shot here.
Trips left, jet motion, play fake for Rudder. He looks, pump fakes, going on the slant, and it's incomplete, broken up. A tremendous play from behind by Marcus Smith to punch that ball out.
They had double slants going, and he's got an option on either. He wanted to hit the first receiver, which I think was Kaminsky, and instead he waited for the second window. He didn't like what he saw. See here on the replay, he looks for the first one, pumps it. Now he's going to go to his second receiver, puts a really good throw on there, but a great break on the ball, coming over the top to get it out.
Yeah, on the replay there, you see that ball never really settled. Smith did a great job getting that hand in there before the pass could be completed. So Crotty for his second field goal attempt. This one will be right hash. And it is good.
I mean, it's a huge, being down 13-0, it's a huge stop for Wheaton to be able to keep them out of the end zone and keep this still at a 2-score game. I mean, this feels like 2006 to me when we went into halftime down 13-0 in our homecoming game, and it was a very calm and collected Coach Schweider that just said, hey, we're moving the ball, we're doing a good job, we've stopped them on several occasions, it's just time to go down there and finish. And, I mean, this is a team that is very beatable. Wheaton just has to make the plays necessary to accomplish the feat.
And it's a little bit like the regular season matchup played out last year where North Central just kind of dominated things. Now, they landed some haymakers that they have not quite been able to land in this game, but they're still 2-12. And if you remember, Wheaton looked like they were going into the half safe last year until the punt return by Pat Cravens with 30 seconds left. So Wheaton's got to do a nice job here running out the clock and either get the ball in the end zone or not giving them time to hit a big one. They're going to kick this one deep. It'll take Roberts into the end zone. He'll bring it out up the left hash. Carter Roberts moving to the middle now. Carter Roberts bouncing to the outside. He's got room. 30, 35, 40. Carter Roberts with a big one, and he's cut down at the 46-yard line.
Well blocked again. It's that misdirection return. You see him start up the left side, immediately break it to the right. And when he starts up the left side, the guys that are widest opposite of him are told to squeeze their lanes. That allows us to square those guys up and created a lot of room on the sideline. You see as he breaks back to the right, he's cutting upside. Now as he breaks outside, the widest guy there gets hooked and just gets enough of him to give him the sideline. And that is a cardinal rule. If you have to stay wide as the widest as the perimeter lane on the kickoff team, but that was set up by that misdirection kick that they run.
And the kick to start it off was a low line drive kick. And Carter Roberts didn't have anybody in his face until the 20-yard line, and that gives him an opportunity to make one cut, one play. And
credit Andrew Brady, who was the guy who had that block where he hooked the last man in and then did a nice job as he saw Roberts roll to the outside, breaking contact on the block so as not to get flagged. And Wheaton's going to put things in reverse before they ever get going here. And that's your All-American tight end, Zach Lindquist, who jumped off sides. So he'll come off, bring on Tyler Pace, and it'll be 1st and 15 from their own 42 to start the drive. Chase White on the outside of a trip set left. Olateju bounces to the right side, angling for the corner, stiff-arming Greenberg, turns the shoulders upfield, runs over a Cardinal tackler, and just steps out of bounds.
That's not just a Cardinal tackle. That's Sturzma, who's the next linebacker, a very physical guy. And that's a big collision between those two players, both all-conference kids.
Most importantly, Olateju back on the field and looks pretty confident with his footing.
I mean, the thing you love about a guy like Shola is he seeks out contact at the end of plays. I mean, most other running backs will take the out-of-bounds route, but he lays his shoulder in and gets an extra, even if it's 6 inches, he's getting that extra yardage.
Greenberg was the one who got stiff-armed, so a 10-yard run brings up 2nd and 5. Minute 55, Wheaton has all 3 timeouts, ball in the North Central 48. Quick hitter to the outside, Chase White, catch, and down. And if you doesn't really matter if you got out of bounds, he's got enough for a first down.
I think at first the ref made the signal that he was going to wind it, but then
they're going to wind it. He landed in bounds. I'm pretty sure they'll wind it.
He just made the signal. Yep. So either way,
this is plenty of time for Wheaton now. At the 44-yard line now with a minute 43 left and all of your timeouts remaining.
I'd love to see him work the wide side, put the receiver tighter to the hash and run an out route here, but they're not going to run it here with him this wide.
Hanley is the split to the left. Chase White split to the right. 1st and 10 from the Cardinal 43. Olateju again. Cuts back, has a seam inside the 40. 35.
He's going to be Cravens.
He's going to be close to a first down. Those two have had a history ever since that second-round game where Olateju ran him over twice, and they meet again here.
Great block by Hibben on Tommy Sora there to push him out, get him coming back up inside. Great run by Sola to turn that sucker up.
And Wheaton will use its first timeout here with a minute 19 left. They've got 2nd and 1 down to the North Central 35-yard line.
And it would be a huge shot in the arm if they were able to get a touchdown out of this drive. But again, their troubles have not been between the 20s. Their troubles have been in the red zone. So they've been able to move the ball nicely against this North Central defense. It's just they've shot themselves in the foot with penalties and turnovers once they get down close.
It's been a tale of 2 units this season. When Wheaton's defense gets their back up against their own goal line, they have a tendency to bow up and make big plays to keep points off the board. But then Wheaton's offense, for one reason or another, in the last couple of weeks, when they've gotten down towards the goal line, they just struggled to be able to put it in the end zone. I mean, it takes big plays to score for Wheaton's offense right now. So, I mean, it's just go back to what got you there. Continue with your philosophy. Continue to ground and pound and put the ball in the end zone and trust the guys that have gotten you there. Trust you All-Americans.
Well, they're going to go to the Peterson package here on 2nd and 1 in the backfield with Olateju, a minute 19 left. And you'd have to think, given that you're in a hurry-up scenario, that you have to stick with this for a couple of plays here. 2nd and a yard. It's a speed option right. He's going to pass. He's got a man with a step down the sideline. That's Roberts.
There
Touchdown Thunder.
There
Great
you go.
call. Great play call.
Really fantastic play call. Again, we've said all along that Peterson can throw the football, and he made a beautiful throw right there off of that action. Caught the corner just enough, and they got behind him, and it's a great throw, getting Wheaton right back in this game. Now the issue is they still have a minute 12, and Brock Rutter's on the other side.
Now they are out of timeouts because they had to burn 2 in the first drive of the game, and their 3rd very early here or on that previous drive. Kinnear for the extra point. Out of the hold of Adam Sandy. John Vargas, the long snapper. Good snap put down and pounded through for Kinnear, and it's a 1-score game. The Thunder come off the mat here late in the first half.
I mean, to see that play, to see that touchdown play live was unbelievable. I mean, you see the entire defense freeze right here. He takes a step up, throws it deep to a guy in man coverage, and he's got him by 2 steps, and, I mean, just delivered a perfect ball. And North Central was completely caught off guard because to this point in the year, that has not been a passing package. I mean, I think they've thrown it 1 time, and it was in the first game of the. Excuse me, it was against Carthage.
Yeah,
haven't seen it in a while.
Most importantly, he led him because Roberts blew right by the corner, and Peterson looked pretty confident there. That's a throw that's open enough that can sometimes freeze a quarterback, and he just delivered a confident ball. That is his 2nd touchdown pass of the season. He's now 5 of 6 when they've aired it out, and this one will bring Wheaton back to within 6.
Well, this is a hugely important sequence in this game right now with a minute 12 and no timeouts, but that's not a huge factor because the clock does stop if you move the chains with Brock Rutter. If they can get into the halftime with this lead, remember the Thunder get the ball to start the second half because they deferred at the beginning of the game, which I know was a couple hours ago, many hours ago for most of us.
Ago.
But so this sequence for the Wheaton defense is really massive. They have to get a stop here with a minute 12. They almost scored too soon, but you'll take the points to make it a 1-score game. We'll see what they can do.
Well, you saw it there with that camera shot. Starting to rain again. That touchdown's going to be bigger, and we'll get to it after this kickoff. High kickoff. This is going to be Ladico from his own 4. Outside the numbers, angling to the hash, and Goldsmith does just enough to get him and trip him up. That's a big stop. But as we were talking about, you look at the radar, there's a second band of storms that is just about to hit. And we've heard that it's now 10:20. If they get hit again, you're likely done for the night because there's going to be a delay and that seems to be the talk at this point. So if you can get to halftime and you're looking at that delay, all of a sudden you're only trailing by 6 going into a restart probably on Monday. That's a big pickup for your team.
Well, we've already had one of the residents of Wheaton on the field showing their complaint, so likely the city of Wheaton will be closing the game down if it goes again.
1st and 10 for Rutter and company. 65 seconds left out of timeouts.
It'd be interesting to see how aggressive Jeff Thorne is with the play calling here. He does have the best quarterback in the country, though.
Handoff to Brunig right up the middle. Has a seam, and he's going to be held up by Stevie, and that's the quickest whistle we've had all night at the end of a play. It'll end up being a 3-yard gain, but it looks like North Central is going to be content to take this to halftime. And looking at the radar, possibly the end of the night. It's hard to tell, but the Thorgard has just bumped up to caution again, so we're working our way probably towards it going off again.
And the discussion is if this game is postponed, it will resume on Monday because Wheaton, per their school policy, does not play athletic contests on Sunday.
30 seconds left, another handoff to Brunig, nowhere to go. Into the line, whistle comes, and that should take things to halftime. Dallas McCray with the tackle. North Central is content to have that be the end of the half.
Yeah, I think with the rain coming down, Coach Thorne just, the rain's the extra variable, didn't want to risk another momentum swing by trying to open it up, especially in their own territory inside the 20. Had they been able to spring a couple and get out to 30-35, they might have given Rutter a chance to try to go get some points. So huge stop for the Thunder whenever they resume, whether that's tonight or Monday. The Thunder are going to get the ball, and this is a new ball game at this point. They did a nice job getting points and getting themselves back in this game.
Yeah, I mean a completely different game than what it had, what the building appeared to be when we came back out following the long rain delay. I mean, North Central was completely in control of this game. They were moving the ball seemingly at will until they got into their own red zone, and Wheaton Wheaton has piled up yardage. They just haven't been able to put points on the board until this most recent drive. So just a great way to finish the half with the momentum in your favor. And to your point, whether this thing finishes tonight or it finishes on Monday, Wheaton has the momentum now.
Well, I can tell you right now, Thorgard is trending like it's about to go off. The levels are about to the point where we've seen it jump now from caution to warning. Things are about to jump. So we're actually going to keep you in the booth here just for a couple of minutes to see how this unfolds. But the biggest thing, too, you look at that just from the Thunder sideline, the energy that touchdown injected. You could see there was some frustration building, just their inability. And, again, this defense has picked the offense up so many times this year, and the red zone turnovers just bring you down. But to see that thing get put in the end zone and to come on the way it did, looked like it just shot just a boost into the entire bench.
Oh, yeah, it was a big deal to be able to do that. You know, the Thunder have now thrown the ball in the first half for 147 yards. They've only run it for 23, even though they've been a little successful in that second quarter. I think they didn't get much in the first quarter. North Central had 106 yards rushing and 157 yards passing in the first half. So 263 total yards.
And just as we were talking there, you could see some lightning in the distance. But again, with the Thorgard system, you can see lightning and not have it go off.
Another big thing on these stats, I think that's really telling that the Thunder, as poorly as they played, an interception, fumble, I mean, they're giving up the ball in the red zone. They still only ran 26 plays for 170 yards to North Central's 42 plays. The time of possession, Wheaton only had the ball for 9 minutes and 42 seconds and North Central for 20 minutes and 18 seconds.
And we are seeing lightning here, Doug, as you continue to take us through these halftime stats.
Yeah, so for the Thunder, 26 plays, 170 yards. 9 of 17 for McWilliams. In the pass game, 113 yards and was sacked once. In the rushing game, 9 rushes for 23 yards. Olateju with 8 carries and net, 38 yards. He had a loss of 7, 4.8 yards per carry. Receiving, Zach Lindquist 3 for 25. Carter Roberts 2 for 72. Trey Hanley 1 for 22. Philip Nichols 1 for 12. On the defensive side, Dallas McCray with 5 tackles, Solly with 5, Luke Smith with 5, and Nick Blazek with 5. On the flip side, North Central ran 42 plays, 263 yards in the first half. Austin Brunig, 19 carries for 83 yards, averaging 4 yards a carry. 19 carries in one half is a lot of carries. Brock Rutter had 2 for 24. Mugalo had 4 for 18 and the 1 touchdown down close. Passing, Rutter 9 of 16, 157 yards. He did have the 1 interception. Kaminsky 6 for 96 in the first half. Svikas 2 for 51. Brunig 1 for 10. On the defensive side, Zebold with 3. Michael Svikas with 3. Workenthien with 3. And Tommy Sora with 2. Again, the telling sign of these stats are going to be the time of possession, 20 minutes and 18 seconds for North Central to 9:42 for Wheaton. 42 plays for North Central, 26 for Wheaton. All things said and done, to be down just a score and having run 50% less plays and had the ball a third of the time that the other team had, those are pretty good numbers for Wheaton if they can figure out a way to get off the field against Brock Rutter in the second half, whenever that's played.
So, Doug, let's take this again. There's a conversation going on the sideline, the athletic directors and the officials. Doug, let's take this hypothetically here. How do you try to prepare yourself all of a sudden as a member, as we're seeing some massive lightning here?
I can't believe this thing hasn't gone off yet.
Yeah, the system's still at warning. But how do you prepare yourself for a game that you've played 30 minutes of? And then you've got 2 days, we're likely looking at Monday night, 2 days, and then you've got a game plan. It's really a whole new game because, like we were talking about during the initial lightning delay, you've got film now to make adjustments with.
Yeah, it's completely different. I mean, you can go. The coaches are going to spend all day tomorrow. If in fact this gets delayed till Monday, they'll spend all day tomorrow studying each side's game plan and what they were trying to do, and they will come out, with variations to their plan, and they have the ability to get together with their team and walk through and add things and tweak things.
Well, especially because both teams are going into next week with weaker CCIW opponents, so it really isn't throwing as much into.
This looks to be final handshakes between the athletic directors, and you have to think that we're done here.
It could very well be.
It appears so. I mean, they shook hands and walked away, and the refs are going off the field now after.
Well, they'd be going off the field anyway.
Well, there's been this official has made an announcement to the Wheaton stands. We have yet to hear officially, but all signs are, and here comes the North Central staff back out. I think we're done. All right, there's the official word. So we are officially suspended.
Monday.
Monday at 6 p.m. will be our continuation. So this is going to be bizarre. For the record, Wheaton plays at North Park next week. North Central has their homecoming game against Augustana, a team that almost knocked off Milliken today. So Wheaton has the better outlook as far as playing on short rest, but I mean, this is going to be this changes everything.
I mean, this is completely strange. I mean, you are playing a shortened game, which means obviously you haven't played as many plays. Your body won't experience the soreness that it did. But I mean, Monday's typically a lighter day. I mean, it's a day where you typically don't have practice of any kind.
Yeah,
you watch films, you do some sort of running, potentially in the morning. But I mean, it throws your week off completely. It's like in the NFL when you play the Thursday night game on a short week. It's
right.
It's completely different. But to Doug's point, these guys now, rather than coming back and watching the entire game filming, knowing the outcome of the game, they get the entire Sunday afternoon and evening to game plan for 6 p.m. on Monday for Wheaton, the biggest game of the year, certainly, and for North Central, I mean, the conference championship is on the line outright if they win. So it's what a weird scenario. Something I've been around the game of football for 20 years, and Doug, you 30 to 40. It's like it's something I've never seen.
No,
Crazy.
Well, it did happen as I think people know. I believe it was a Hardin-Simmons game down in Texas a couple of years ago.
Playoff game, wasn't it?
That got delayed, and they played it the next day. I think it was a 10-hour marathon, and they end up finishing it the next day. But again, because of Wheaton's particular school policies and beliefs, they're not allowed to play athletic contests on Sunday, and so that pushes this game to Monday, which is definitely something I don't think many people have seen. Very unique. So
it's typically a JV game night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this. Yeah. So and just a decision made really by eyesight, because again the Thorgard system is on the verge of going off. That's the highest levels we've had, but still not officially going off.
I think too, and Nate just joined us in the box, so maybe he can provide some insight for us. But I think too that it's a city of Wheaton rule that the lights need to be off by midnight, and I'm not sure that this game wraps up by then, anyways. So it's. Maybe.
I also don't think those rules have really brought into account a game like this where you could run past midnight, because I think you have to, if you're going to play it, you've got to be able to finish it without having a rule in place. And Nate, you were on the sideline. Is there any extra insight into what went on there with the decision making?
I didn't hear anything about why the decision was made. I'm assuming it's just because of the weather. I was just down on the sideline even when decision was made, and as we see, the Thorgard just went off. So they probably just called it early, saw it coming. But it could be a thing with the lights as well, knowing that if they delayed it and tried to finish it, would go past that rule. I'm not sure if that rule exists, but as we saw with the visitor onto the field earlier,
we can't have many more villagers on the field.
There's at least one happy resident. Yeah.
Might have to pay some bail before she is happy about it, but anyhow, ultimately probably the right decision to be made. So we will resume on Monday night at 6 o'clock right here at McCulley Stadium. Wheaton's going to get the ball first, and we're going to have 30 minutes of football with North Central leading 13-7. Thank you to our outstanding production crew with Sunrise Communications. For Nate Stein, Dan Studebaker, Doug Rothschild, I'm Rusty Lindsay. Thanks for joining us tonight for Wheaton Thunder football on WTSN. We'll see you on Monday.